Hey everyone, and well, here we are. The long-awaited how to make dubstep tutorial in Reason. Let's begin with a mixer 14:2, and inside this mixer a combinator. Now first let me tell you that this tutorial series is going to be fairly long because of the fact that I'm going to need to work in all the different angles of dubstep, because the dubstep I make as Ohmygawditsanoctopus is rather complicated. If you want to hear that music, go here. Please do check that out and subscribe to that channel if you like it. If I get enough popularity with that, I'll put it on iTunes just like I've put picniconadirigibleofficial on iTunes. Now let's get started with teaching you how to step the dub. Inside this combinator, create a line mixer 6:2, and then an instance of the Kong drum designer, and initialize it. Now, in the first patch area, and a nano sampler, and in this space, we'll load a kick drum sample. Start with analog SHA, and now we'll get a clickier one to stack on top of it, which will be basics SHA. Now link these together by pressing D on the link module of both, and they'll play at the same time. Turn the volume for the bassier one at the bottom up more to max, and the top one in the FX1 area, create a filter and set it to high pass. There's just that little bit of high end. And now you're going to need a snare, so let's start sampling a snare. Kong patches, sounds and samples, and snare drums. Let's use air snare 60 and turn the decay right down to about 30. Actually, about 21. And turn its pitch up a bit. Now we also need to stack a different type sound for the snare on top of that. For doing that, we're going to go to a sample pack I got from theboyinaband.com. I do recommend him. Go here to check him out and tell him I sent you. Dubstep. I do find a lot of these helpful. We're going to use snares and claps 94. So load that in and then link these both with E. Turn the one on the bottom down, and the one on the top up. Now we're going to draw in a 4-bar pattern. Down at C1 is where the notes will be. Seems to have not gone all the way. This is the pattern we'll be using. However, this is too slow. Generic dubstep is at a BPM of 140, so we'll set it to that. It's good. Copy paste that and loop it. Now we've got that. I did learn a lot from Boy in a Band and my dubstep skills, so once again credit to him. Now the sound needs some more filling, so we'll create an M-class maximizer, bring up the input gain, turn off the limiter, soft clip to full, and put gain up a little more. Now the problem is this doesn't have very much presence right now, so we'll be adding RV7000 advanced reverb and turn it down a bit. Or to about the 7, 6, 7 area. Now finally we're going to add a hi-hat to this. So in the 4th patch area, we're going to sample in that hi-hat. We'll use light hat open BSQ. And create another lane and set this to bar and draw that in. We'll do 1 on every beat of each measure. There we go. And copy paste it. Turn its level down a bit. Maybe bring the bass drum down just a bit. That should help a bit with the bass. Now we're going to name this track Beat 1. You can hide this for now. Okay, now we have the beat. And now for the last part of this installment of this series, we'll be creating a sort of bassy sort of sound which kind of has a wobble sort of effect. So Combinator, right click, create line mixer 6-2 and an instance of Thor, initialize it, and open it. Create 3 analog oscillators, all on sine wave. By the way, if you're coming here straight from the Reason for Beginners tutorials, stay back at the beginner level tutorials unless you have experience, because this is a lot more advanced instrumentation. This is going to be the sound that monitors the wobble. Now turn all the sine waves first down 1 octave and test the sound on that. Maybe the bottom one down 1 more. The amp envelope sustain all the way to full. And we're going to run these first 2 through. Actually, all 3. So you get a little bit of a clippy sort of sound. It's okay that it's clipping down here. That's what we want right now for this specific sound. We're getting a little bit too much feedback and too much volume. So take this bottom octave up again. So now we can get just a bit of a wobbly sort of sound out of this. And keep in mind, this is just one of the starter sounds we'll be creating. This isn't at all the finalized material. Name this Wobbly Sine Bass 1. And we'll be creating notes that are for the first 2 beats of each of these 2 measures on C2. It's the sound we're working with for now. We'll just loop that space. Now, To make this wobble with better control accuracy, we're going to add a low pass ladder filter to this bottom space. So do that by adding low pass ladder. And up in the combinator, show the programmer, go to Thor 1, rotary 1, and switch the target to filter 2 frequency. There. Now what we'll be doing is the static value will be 0 for this. Static value, by the way, for those of you who don't know, is what it stays at by default. Now we're going to right click it, the rotary one, and edit automation. And draw in just a 1 bar pattern here and open it. And then zoom in quite a bit. Now, draw in the beginning of it to be 0. Halfway through this first bar here, put it right up here at about 96, 97, 98, somewhere in there, toward 100, and then by the end of that back to 0. And now repeat, but make sure it's the same value as the other so that it seems like it's the same type of sound. Now we can zoom back out, and you've drawn in your little automation. Now you'll notice, however, we're going to need to be more accurate because it's not happening as fast as we want it to. So simply move this 96 to 1/8 of the way through the bar, and then the next eighth, and finally end at the next eighth. There you go. And we're going to copy this and put it also here. Now you can zoom back out and notice that the sound that we wanted is now being achieved. And we can copy and paste this all the way through and listen to it. There's a bit more clipping than we want, so we're going to take the wobble bass's volume down a bit and the beat a bit. So there, that's a bit of a wobbly bass and a good type of dubstep beat to begin with. And in the next episode I'll be covering how to do more filler synths, and after that, finally, the Skrillexy or Ohmygawditsanoctopus sort of angry robot voice, talking sort of wobble that happens and drops. Also, I'll be covering drops in a further episode.